Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the K Factor, everything K-pop, hosted by Beomhan. This is a podcast about everything K-pop. We're going to pull back the curtain and bring you guys into the world of idols, musicians, songwriters, choreographers, and this is a deep dive into the making of an idol. I am your host, Beomhan, and I have been a trainee for the past 6 years, and I am now pursuing a solo career here in America, and I kind of want to give you guys my personal experience, my personal anecdotes, and everything that I experienced kind of going through the system of K-pop. So what a lot of people don't understand is that for every successful group that you see performing these big stages like Mama, Coachella, Lollapalooza, like there are thousands of groups that didn't make it. And I kind of want to pull back the curtain on what are some of the hardships that would result in a group not being able to make it. What are some of the setbacks and the challenges? And I'm going to give you my personal experience. Okay. So about 6 years ago, I moved to Korea. And as a kid from New York, I didn't speak a word of Korean. And there's a bunch of international trainees who go through this as well. And actually later, we're going to have a guest who was part of one of the big 3 companies and trained for multiple of years, moved there when he was 14, and kind of had a bad experience and then came back to America. So we're going to be talking to him a little bit later in the episode for making of an idol. But right now, this is my personal experience. All right. I moved to Korea into a smaller company and I didn't speak a word of Korean. I literally got there and I was like, where are the subtitles? And I went to the dorm and I saw a little dog and I was like, oh, hello, dog. And then the dog barked back in Korean. And he spoke more Korean than I did. The owners would go to me like, son, 기다려. 따라와. Oh, what is a dalawa? What is a son? You know? So that was my experience. And they kind of like put me through like an intensive language learning program where I was like learning 500 words a day. And then they would like give me tests like kind of like a couple of days later. And I have to like be like, okay, like I would get 400 words out of 500 on a good day, maybe. And we would do this every single day. And all this time, I was like 17 years old. You know, I'm dealing with the emotions of leaving home, like first time kind of being removed from my family and just kind of like, okay, I feel lonely, you know? I'm in this new country and no one speaks English. I can't be friends with anyone here. And we're just training every single day. And I actually brought my old training schedule for you guys. So we're going to put it up on the screen if you guys are watching visually. But if you're listening, check this out, okay? This says Beomhan 1 week plan, all right? 10 a.m., wake up. 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I get a shower, have my meal, clean or whatever. So that's for an hour. And then from 11 to 11:30, we'll go to the practice room. Like we'll kind of bike there or like have someone drive. That's 30 minutes, okay? And 11:30 to 2, we have Korean study. So I get to study these words that they give me, like 500 words a day. They're like, boom, Beomhan, you learn how to 안녕하세요. And I'm like, oh, 안녕하세요, right? And then I do that, right? And then from 2 to 3, we have vocalization or pronunciation, which is also like pronouncing Korean words, but we're like covering rap songs, covering English songs in Korean. So I have to learn how to pronounce these words, right? So we do that. Then from 3 to 7:30, we have rap practice. Okay, cool. I get to rap. Boom, I'm writing raps, I'm performing, and then we practice, and then we have these evaluations where it's the company staff, 4 of them or however many in front of you. They have like their little boards, and then they're like, okay, perform. And then you gotta go there and you gotta perform. And whatever they give you, you just do it, and they give you a score. And in these bigger companies, you're kind of competing against other trainees and like who does better on like the evaluations. However, for me, I was the only trainee in my company. So I actually felt a lot of pressure, but also like no pressure. I was like, oh, okay, if I mess up, what are they going to do? Like hire someone else? Like I run, it's like if I was to like work at a boba shop and they're like, what are you going to do? Like fire me, you know? So I'm the only employee. Okay, your business is gonna, you know? So I felt the pressure of like, oh, I wanted to do well, but I was like, oh, I'm not competing against anyone here. So we would do these evaluations and then that was to kind of practice for it, right? Then from 7:30 to 8:30, we have photo missions. And I think this is something that, I don't know if other companies do this, but I had to do selfie practice. So I had to take my phone, I had to take a selfie, and then I would be like 50 to 100 selfies And then I would send it to my manager. And my manager would pick like 5 or 10 or however many are like good and show off like my features. And then they're like, okay, now do this again. And I have to like recreate the 7 pictures. And then at the end of the day, I would have taken like 300 selfies. And then like there'll be like 2 good ones. And I have to do this every single day. And then like they also have, they combine it with like this thing they call photo mission. You just have to like copy pictures. And I don't think any other pop stars in the world have to do that. And then we'd write lyrics from 8:30 to 1:30 to 11:30. And you're like, okay, it's been like 12 hours. You know, when does he get to go home? Okay. I'm writing lyrics from 8:30 to 11:30. And then, okay, maybe it's time to go home. Just kidding. 12:40 to 12 o'clock, you go to the dance practice room. 12 o'clock? Like 12 a.m.? Yeah. Then from 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., go to, is dance practice. Go to the dance practice room and dance. So we're practicing from kind of 10 a.m. to 6 a.m. every single day. And this was my schedule 7 days a week, except for on Sundays, I get to go to church and I get 3 hours of rest. And that's just the training schedule, you know, not to mention kind of the culture shock of learning a whole new culture. There's a lot of things in Korea where you have to respect your elders. You can't eat faster than the oldest person in the room. Your forks and your spoons have to be facing a certain way. And I was like, oh, I don't know any of this. And when you mess up, a lot of times people wouldn't tell you. I was very blessed to be in a welcoming environment where they knew that they were kind of bringing in an American or someone who was like born and raised in America. So they gave me a lot of grace with a lot of the culture stuff. But I know a lot of stories, a lot of people like with the guests that we have coming on later, where these foreign trainees, they wouldn't know the culture and they wouldn't know like the little hidden rules where you can't say certain things or you can't like act a certain way. You have to sit with like your hands on your knees, like all this stuff, right? And we don't know this. And a lot of us, we piss someone off because they're like, why is this kid not having his hands on his knees right now? And then they get blacklisted from the training. And then they kind of have to like sit in like these kind of like these away areas. And they're like secluded because they didn't follow the rules and they just seem like a rude kid. But we're coming from a different place, you know? Like we're chasing our dreams and we moved here when we're 14, 15, 16. And the only thing we're thinking about is dance. But there's a bunch of different layers. And that's one of the little hardships, you know? And a couple years ago, during my time, there was COVID. And COVID had a huge impact on these foreign trainees who were coming in because a lot of these smaller companies, they had a mass like firing, I guess, of their international trainees because they couldn't tour and a lot of their sponsors were getting cut. And like they were like, okay, we can't house you anymore. So you go home. And a lot of trainees got let go during this time. And I was one of them. So I auditioned from a company and I moved to Korea. And then COVID hits immediately. And they're like, oh, like you kind of have to like go. I was like, what? They're like, we can't afford you anymore. And we're like, oh, okay. And then I just went home. And I would call my other trainee friends and they're like, yeah, we actually just literally went home too. And I was like, wait, what? And I'll call someone else. And they're like, yeah, I'm in Boston right now. And I'm like, what the heck? What's going on? You know? So I was like, okay, is this how the dream ends? Just like that? And sometimes it's just that quick. And then your dreams are over. And then now you're back in America, you know? Except you spent like 3 years in Korea already and you missed high school, you missed middle school. And now you just have to go through with your regular life, you know? Like what is that like? And actually, we have some insight. So please welcome our guest who's going to talk about all the befores, all the durings, and all the afters of what it was like being a trainee.